good evening from CCV Sports Arena and Ringwise Promotions have put together the South African junior welterweight clash between Aaron Kabi and the prospect Jan Bergman, who, if he wins tonight, the sky would be the limit. Let's have a look at the two fighters' records. Aaron Kabi then, with all that experience, 30 fights, 26 wins, just losing twice, with only 4 knockouts, not a big puncher, but what a great boxer. With me, Bert Blewett.
Yes, and look at Jan Bergman's record, 18 fights, 18 wins. Remarkable. But let's hear what the fighters themselves have to say about their prospects.
18 wins. Depend on how long the level man, but better. So I fought the best in South Africa.
I want to outbox him. I want to show him that his experience is nothing to me. And I'm not in there for knockout, I'm in there for points win. I want to outbox him throughout the whole 12 rounds.
Well, the excitement really has started to build now. Both fighters are in the ring. Boxing personalities have come from far and near. Let's go to our ring announcer for the evening, Desmond Sono.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have been waiting for, brought to you by Ringwise Promotion and CCV Sports Arena, presenting the main event of the evening. The contest is for the SA Junior Welterweight title over 12 rounds, with the old black belt at stake. The bout is sanctioned and governed by the rules and regulations of the SA National Boxing Control Board, and the bout is over 12 rounds. The tournament supervisor is Mr. Stanley Sono, your medical officer, Dr. Botha, your referee, the one and only Stan Christodolo, your judges, Majors Pukwana, Martin, and Horn, your timekeeper, of course, one and only Champ Powe. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for Circle Dynamite. Introducing the principals, boys for fun. Starting first with, on my right, in white and red trunks, tip the scale at 62.10 kilograms. With an impressive record of 18 fights, having won all 18. 14 of his opponents never went a distance. Ladies and gentlemen, the Transvaal Junior Welterweight champion and #1 contender for the SA title, the challenger, the prodigy of South Africa, Jan Kid Gavilan Bergman. And ladies and gentlemen, he's fighting against in the opposite corner, in gold and blue trunks. Tip the scale at 63.20 kilograms, with a professional record of 30 fights, having won 26, drawn 2, lost 2. 10 of his opponents never went a distance. He is the proud owner of the old belt, the SA Junior Welterweight champion, the only licensed automatic rifle, Aaron AK-47 Kabi.
Shake hands, good luck to you both.
And the third man in the ring needs no introduction either. Our own Stan Christodoulou. Bert, boxing writers are split down the middle with this one. A very difficult fight to call.
Well, it really is, Nick. I think that perhaps Bergman will have the edge. He does hit harder than Kabi, but Kabi's a very, very accomplished boxer, very clever indeed. And Bergman is the man who's going to have to make this fight.
Well, if there is a better boxer in South Africa than Aaron Kabi, I want to know who he is. This is definitely the biggest fight we've had inside South Africa this year. Certainly ranks right up there with the Gary Ballard Sugar Boy Malinga fight. Huge interest in this. Boxing personalities from around the country have assembled here. Brian Mitchell is here, Dingo Ntebela is here, Sugar Boy Malinga is here, Greg Clark is here. The list just goes on and on. 2 counter punches. It'll be interesting to see if Bergman does take the initiative. One feels he's got to do that.
Bergman looked very uptight before the start of this fight. He's lashing out with punches, and look what happens. Kabi just using his reflexes to make him miss badly. This is the sort of thing that we could see more of. And
quite interesting, Jan Bergman turning to his corner when he missed that punch to say, well, what did I do wrong?
Well, this could be a problem for Bergman. He's does incline to lose his cool very quickly. And he does seem to lose his imagination very quickly. He's very much of a stereotype fighter. But if he's given the opportunity, if he can get on the inside and connect with some good shots, it could make a big difference to him.
On the plus side for Jan Bergman, Bert, I don't think Aaron Kabi has faced as quick a fighter, hand speed-wise, as Jan Bergman. Certainly not his last couple of fights.
Well, that's very true, Nick. Bergman Very good young fighter, unbeaten in 18 fights, as we know. Got tremendous hand speed. But I would think that in this fight, he's going to have to get on the inside and work at close quarters. Otherwise, Kabi is going to keep him on the end of his punches, and that's not where Bergman wants to be. Well, it looks now as though Bergman beginning to settle down, having lashed out with those couple of big punches that missed badly. He's now sizing up his opponent, which is the wisest thing to do. And he needs a round or two to settle down, Nick.
Yes, indeed. You made the remark that you thought Bergman was a little tense coming in. Well, a couple of big swings can loosen you up. But he can't go off. And there's a right hand, and Kabi goes down.
Well, that's a knockdown, but Kabi may have been off balance.
Well, I agree with you, Bert. Kabi doesn't appear hurt. He was going back and would appear he was off balance. But a stunning start to this fight.
Well, it'll give a lot of encouragement to Bergman. Still lashing out with that left hook.
Kabi will do his level best to stay out of a brawl in this fight. He's going to box Bergman.
Well, that's his style as we come to the end of round one.
And with that, back to the studio. Into the second round we go, and a very exciting first round with Jan Bergman scoring a flash knockdown. Aaron Kabi got up straight away, though he wasn't hurt. But already the fight falling into a pattern.
Yes, Bergman looking a lot more controlled here in the second round. Even though he scored a knockdown in round one, it wasn't a particularly good round for him. And Kabi was certainly not hurt from that knockdown. Things settling down here in the second round, and Bergman looking far more in control of himself. Beginning to box from behind that left jab.
Kabi is always a composed fighter. That first round knockdown won't have fazed him.
Of course, Kabi is essentially a counter puncher. He would want Bergman to lead and then counter.
But no fighter really doing all that much in the way of leading at the moment, and really a case could be made for Kabi doing the leading. He's trying to build something from behind that left jab, as we see a couple of Bergman jabs going in.
Compared to the first round, this has been a relatively quiet round so far.
If you're looking for a reach advantage, it looks as if it belongs with Jan Bergman.
Once again, it's Bergman beginning to force the action. Needs to get on the inside to be effective.
A look at the first round knockdown, and you can see Kabi was moving back, but it was a good right hand thrown by Jan Bergman. Into the third we go. Little bit of a surprise for me, Bert, that Kabi really, I guess, is backing up Bergman most of the time. We thought it would be the other way around.
Yes, well, of course, Bergman was very aggressive in round one, and he went a bit wild, perhaps too wild. And now I think he's trying to fight a more composed sort of battle, Nick. Looking for angles, looking for openings. After all, this fight is scheduled for 12. There's a long way to go.
And in Aaron Kabi, Jan Bergman has the most evasive opponent he's ever had in front of him. No question about that. Kabi is able to make you miss from all angles.
Yes, Kabi is certainly not the easiest man to hit, as you saw there. Bergman lashing out with the right. Just a flick of the head and the punch misses.
Yes, you have the feeling at times that Aaron Kabi fights with radar on his side. He's able to see those punches almost before they come. But in the hand speed of Jan Bergman, that's something that Aaron Kabi is obviously going to have to keep a watchful eye on. Bergman again with a wild right, and Kabi has no problem staying out of harm. Well, you can see the respect these two fighters have for each other. That's quite evident.
Bergman's jab beginning to fall short. He needs to get closer before throwing his punches. He really does need to get on the inside to be effective.
Which is an unusual thing for a fighter who appears to have a reach advantage.
Yes, but as you can see, Nick, Kabi is quite happy to keep the fight at a distance. He's got that very good left jab, and these jabs mostly are scoring. When he throws a punch, it normally reaches Bergman, whereas when Bergman throws his jab, quite often they fall short.
A big trademark of Aaron Kabi, doesn't throw too many punches, but when he does, they always land, invariably. Bergman getting a warning for using the shoulder. Might be a good plan for Jan Bergman to work the body. It's an easier target to hit than Aaron Kabi's head.
Well, now Bergman has closed the gap between himself and Kabi, and I dare say his punches will begin to land as we come to the end of the third round. A very serious looking Jan Bergman here this evening. He came to the ring looking very uptight and seemed a bit wild in the first round when he uncoiled with his punches, and still looking very serious to me, Nick.
Well, there's a lot riding on this fight for Jan Bergman, of course. Ringwise Promotions, who look after Jan Bergman, they've taken a big chance. A win, of course, for Jan Bergman will really open things up in an international sense to him. I believe the plans are to take him over to America and give him some exposure there. Of course, a loss to Aaron Kabi, and it'll be back to square one. Well, Bergman just backing off, and this so often happens between two counter punches.
Right, step back.
Yes, Bergman has been inclined to force the pace in the early rounds, and he's doing it again.
Right, step back.
Another big question about Jan Bergman is how well he takes a punch. Kabi, not a noted banger, but carries respectable power.
Well, Grant Messias hurt Bergman in their fight, and then Bergman came back to knock Messias out. Well, that was a particularly good jab from Bergman. Beginning to get the distance and the range.
Yes, to catch Kabi with a jab, you've got to have very good hand speed, and Jan Bergman has that. There again, the jab is landing. Kabi, likewise, though, lands his own jab and gets a roar of approval from his supporters here. Both fighters coming into the ring with heavy support tonight. In fact, to get any journalist to actually lay a bet on this fight was pretty difficult, Bert.
Well, I can appreciate that. This really is a hard one to call. Well, Kabi's left hand beginning to work very nicely here in the fourth round. And Bergman wanting to barrage to the body as he gets on the inside. But look how clever Kabi is, tying up Bergman when he gets close to close quarters, slipping many of those punches from the young challenger.
Jan Bergman still trying to force his way inside. Kabi allows himself a little smile every now and then when he does manage to evade some of these rushes from Bergman, but he's got to keep his wits about him because he's up against a faster fighter in Jan Bergman than he's faced for a long time.
still there.
Open him up on the right hand. Don't open him and then you throw his bowler. Every time he jumps away from you when he plays with the gloves and everything, he's worried because he's hitting with a jab all the time. Hitting that jab in his face.
He slipped down a question. Alles het hoek, hulle gaan in kom. Ja, hulle gaan in out deeply. Sien jy? Hulle gaan in kom aan.
Well, here's some replay from that fourth round. You see Kabi countering beautifully with the left hand. And although Bergman is the aggressor, not getting much in the way of advantage out of that.
No, he's very keen to get off the ropes there when Aaron Kabi had him trapped on the ropes. So, into the fifth we go, still a long way to go, scheduled for 12. And the South African junior welterweight title at stake. The holder, of course, and champion Aaron Kabi. 5 successful defenses. Could this be his 6th?
Kabi's jab working very well indeed here at the start of the 6th round. A solid left hand going straight down the groove.
There's some, of course, that feel Kabi at 33 is an old fighter, but a lot of people do feel he is perhaps coming into his peak, Bert.
Yes, he's in superb physical condition, and for a man of 33, boxing exceptionally well. Of course, he's one of these fitness fanatics. He doesn't ever let himself get out of condition, and you can see why, and you can see how it pays off here this evening.
And if he was in the world heavyweight picture, he'd be considered at 33 a young man.
Indeed. Indeed.
Says something about the world heavyweight scene at the moment.
Well, Bergman not having too much success with the left hook, still trying to whip it in from the outside, but not connecting.
Step back.
No question about it. Kabi's got the better work rate here in the 5th round. Pumping out that left jab. Invariably beating Bergman to the punch.
Right. Step back.
Yes, you wonder what Jan Bergman is going to do if he can't hurt Aaron Kabi. I think the Bergman camp, of course, were planning a lot of their strategy around hurting Kabi early in the fight. That hasn't been the case thus far, apart from the flash knockdown in the first, but Kabi definitely wasn't hurt.
Until such time as Bergman begins to connect with the left hook, he's in a lot of trouble because the left hook is Bergman's best punch, and he needs to start landing a few.
He does land a good right hand there. Kabi takes it well. Both corners leave the ring, and both corners, of course, a wealth of experience. Willie Locke in Aaron Kabi's corner, Chip Wilson with Jan Bergman. Talking to the corners before the fight, Bert, they were both full of confidence. No question their boy was going to win.
Yes, well, now we're approaching the halfway stage of this fight, and very evenly contested. Very evenly contested indeed.
Bergman aggressively forcing his way inside.
Well, Bergman knows that's where he needs to be. And for the last couple of rounds, Kabi has kept him on the end of his jab. He's got to get inside to be effective.
Where Kabi can be caught is on the break. He's got a nasty habit of turning his eyes away from the fighter as he breaks, which is one fault he does have.
Well, that burst of aggression from Bergman seems to have unsettled Kabi momentarily. We're not seeing that left hand being pumped out the way it was in round 5.
Well, it's a little bit like the bull and the matador at the moment. Bergman the bull, Kabi the matador.
Well, that was a far better combination from Bergman. A right and a left, keeps pressing forward here in the 6th. Staying right on top of Kabi.
And that's what he's got to do. Jan Bergman doing exactly what he's got to do, really.
Yes, well, you can see with a change in tactics, this has been a far better round for Bergman.
Almost as if he's reached the decision in his own mind now that Kabi can't hurt him. And he's prepared to take 1 or 2 to get inside and bang away.
Kabi's work rate has fallen perceptibly here in the 6th round.
Both fighters in superb physical condition. Of course, there is an age gap, a big age gap between the two fighters, and perhaps stamina may well play a part as the fight progresses.
Careful, keep your hands up.
We got some replay from that 6th round. Good round for Bergman, and you can see why. Very aggressive, giving Kabi little opportunity to get his punches off.
That's a good point, actually, Bert, because Kabi is very much a balanced fighter, and if Bergman can upset his balance, could be well on his way to winning this fight.
Yes, I thought the change in tactics in round 6 very good for Bergman. He needs to keep pressurizing Kabi.
Glancing left hook from Aaron Kabi, no real damage done.
Well, it's Kabi who's stalking Bergman, backing up the challenger here in the 7th round. Kabi must realize he's got to take the play away from Bergman.
Bergman lands a short right inside.
a good right hand from Bergman. The left hook still not connecting as well as it might, but he's having more success with the right hand. I'm sure viewers won't have forgotten that it was Bergman's combination of a left to the body, right to the jaw, and a left hook to the head that knocked out Grant Messias. And those body shots look as though he's trying to set up Kabi for a similar combination.
Well, I'm sure Grant Messias won't have forgotten that. That was picture-perfect punching by Jan Bergman. Kabi doing his best here to tie up Bergman.
And once again, Kabi has let his work rate fall perceptibly.
Yes, Aaron Kabi over these last couple of rounds is doing a good enough defensive job, but he's not really doing the job of scoring. And that's what he's got to do to win the fight.
Get the ball in the head, keep your guard up, okay? Don't leave yourself open. Last.
That's good. A little bit more pressure. More jet, bam, bam. Follow through right hand.
Charge.
Charge at you and you can hit him with a straight line. You need him lead with that right hand.
Left hand. Right hand. Right. Left.
You want to work with him when you against him. When you're against him, he's doing the work. Okay?
Into the 8th we go, and Gavin Evans, the well-known boxing writer who picked up last night the SAB Merit Award for his writing, he predicted an 8th round stoppage for Jan Bergman. Not too confidently, though, I might add.
Well, on our card, we've got Bergman 3 points ahead after the first 7 rounds. Of course, the round 1 would have been scored 10-8 in favor of Bergman because of the knockdown. But the challenger does look to be ahead.
Kabi with a couple of short right hands turns the head of Bergman.
And as they get to close quarters, is Bergman barraging to the body.
Well, it's Bergman doing the work inside, and Kabi's content to lie there and have a rest.
The trouble is, Nick, I don't think he can afford to have a rest. And still Bergman finding it difficult to connect with that left hook.
Well, you can see there in... Oh, good right hand from Jan Bergman.
Well, as we've mentioned on several occasions, Bergman's got amazing hand speed for a junior welterweight. And when he lashes out with the left or the right, as he did then, not the easiest man to avoid.
Well, a good finish to the round by Jan Bergman as we go into the corners.
You've got to work harder. Must start throwing your right hand.
Well, a very good round for Jan Bergman was round 8. You can see why in the replay. He kept the pressure on Kabi, and although Kabi did respond with that left hook, that was a very rare punch from him.
I was about to say midway through that round that you could see two counter punches at work there, because there was a spell of about 10 seconds where they just stared each other in the eyes. Nobody punched, and then Bergman threw that right hand, and that sparked the flurry.
Well, I would think that Kabi has got to pick up his work rate in these last 4 rounds.
Well, you could hear cornerman Willie Locke urging Kabi on to do more work, and that's very, very sound advice. This fight is slipping from Aaron Kabi.
Lots of bounce in the legs of Bergman. He begins to circle the ring. And for another 10 seconds or more, the men just stare at each other, Nick.
Well, it's two counter punches. Jan Bergman now is content to counter punch, and it's up to Aaron Kabi, we feel, at any rate, to go forward and do something.
Well, on our card, and that's the unofficial scoring, we've got Kabi behind, Bergman in front. The champion really needs to turn this fight around if he's to retain his title. A trickle of blood coming from Bergman's nose.
That's just been opened up, Bert. Right hand, the crowd liked it, but well, it scored, and that's about all.
Well, that left to the body a bit on the low side, right on the belt line from Bergman.
Oh, this has turned into a chess match now.
To fallen.
Well, he's gone into counter-punch mode, Bert. Possibly feels he is leading the fight on points and is content to counter-punch for the rest of the bout. Who knows? We know Kabi's a great fighter on the back foot. He's got to see what he's like on the front foot, because surely Aaron Kabi's got to come forward now, if Bergman is not going to come forward.
This has been a good round for Aaron Kabi so far.
Good. In out, deeply.
As we start the championship rounds, on our card at any rate, Aaron Kabi starting to slip behind.
Yes, Nick, and I think perhaps he realizes that himself, because he had a good round 9. He needs to keep backing up Kabi and keeping his own work rate on an acceptable level. I got the impression that Bergman took a breather in the 9th.
And here we go again, both fighter waiting for the other to punch.
And you can almost see the pattern of the fight. Bergman barraging into the body first, then switching to the head. Kabi waiting too long to let his punches go.
And he's not throwing combinations behind that jab either, Bert. Where Bergman is scoring is that when he does try and jab and open Kabi up, he tries to back it up with some combinations.
Yes, quite true. Nick, Bergman invariably puts a barrage of punches together, doesn't just rely on a single blow. Useful right to the head from Bergman. But still the left hook not working as well as it might.
Kabi digging in a shot to the body.
Yes, the champion slipped the left jab beautifully, responded with a body blow, and now ties up Bergman on the inside, or tries to.
Bergman scores with a right hand. Kabi takes it well. The fight getting a little more heated now. The action picking up a bit. And the crowd certainly appreciating it. Of course, Jan Bergman knows that Aaron Kabi holds the belt, holds the title. He'll have to come and get it. Between rounds, a lot of shouts for Kabi from his supporters, trying to get him up for this fight and back into it.
Kabi showing a bit more aggression here at the start of the 11th.
Yes, that's the word, Bert, aggression. Kabi needs some of it.
Lashing left hooks from Jan Bergman, and at last they begin to land.
Bergman still has these quick hands here in the 11th. In fact, both fighters looking remarkably fresh in the 11th.
A useful right, catching Kabi high on the side of the head.
Bergman almost swings himself off his feet, trying to land a left hook. Kabi, of course, was nowhere near it.
Well, the young challenger, completely unpredictable. Prepared to lash out with lefts and rights, even when he's off balance.
Certainly not scared to throw his punches, Jan Bergman.
And if one has to be critical of Aaron Kabi, it's he's not throwing enough punches, Nick.
Well, he tried and missed there, and Bergman made him pay. And that brought a smile to the face of Jan Bergman. Still bleeding from the nose, Bert. Jan Bergman looking very confident here in the 11th.
Challenger doubling up on his punches. Giving Kabi little opportunity to come back.
And Kabi doesn't seem to have an answer. Well, you can see Bergman, he's urging Kabi and he's saying, come on, let's fight.
Well, there seems to be a problem. End of the round.
Well, that's no problem. We didn't hear the bell. Exciting round.
You've got to hurt him a big round, otherwise you're going to lose.
Well, he has some replay from that 11th round. A very good round indeed for Jan Bergman, the young challenger. He got caught with the left hook, but that was a rare punch from Aaron Kabi. Came back with a big right hand.
And you can see Kabi completely off balance. He's not able to fire back at all. And this is what Bergman has to do here in the 12th. Just keep Kabi off balance.
The 12th and final round, and you may have heard Kabi's corner tell him he's got to win this round and take the play away from Bergman. We've got Bergman comfortably ahead on points on our card.
Well, both fighters ripping away inside.
Well, the men go head to head, and this is actually Kabi playing into the hands of Bergman.
This is where the youth and strength of Jan Bergman should come through. Bergman gets a warning for roughing up Kabi with a shoulder, quite rightly too.
Right, step back.
Kabi's simply not doing enough.
Well, Kabi comes across the ring, sets himself, and then doesn't punch, Bert.
Yes, in fact, very few punches being landed in this final round.
Kabi scoring with a couple of body shots, but far too late in the fight.
Well, I think the only way Kabi can win this fight is by knockout, and that didn't happen.
Well, both fighters raised their gloves, but Kabi's corner, unlike Bergman, not lifting their fighter up. A lot of confidence in Jan Bergman's corner that they've got the fight. We'll have to see.
Well, Bergman believes he's won the fight. He's already acknowledging the cheers of the crowd. But of course, it's the official decision that counts, and it'll be up to the judges to render a decision. We think that Bergman has done enough to win. Here's some replay from that last round. A strange round, really, in which Bergman started fast and then allowed Kabi to come back, but not many of those punches landed, as you can see in the replay. In fact, I think that more punches missed in the last round than actually landed, Nick.
Yes, Kabi did a lot of the controlling of the ring simply by putting himself in position, but he wasn't firing the punches when he was in position. And in fact, if you look at him now, he's hardly blowing, but I think he's going to kick himself when he sees the tape of this fight. Just didn't work hard enough.
Well, that's always been the strike against Kabi. The word is that he only fights as hard as he has to. I don't think he fought hard enough tonight.
No, I'd have to go along with that. Decision still finding its way into the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's the old back belt. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the result. And this is how the judges scores the fight. Judge Bukwana scores the fight 113-115. Judge Martin scores the fight 114-115. Judge Horn scores the fight 113-117. Ladies and gentlemen, on a unanimous point decision, and the new champion, Jan Bergman.
Well, great excitement in the ring. Jan Bergman, the new junior welterweight champion. And a trip to America to look forward to now. For Aaron Kabi, perhaps the end of the road. Hope you enjoyed it on CCV Sports Arena. With that, back to the studio.